I did have one key issue takeaway from the game, and
Here we go.
and I'm not gonna make it a big thing. I'm gonna make it a small big thing. Um, I was talking about it, and first off, I will say that if we lost that game, it would not have been the end of the world. Everything that we want to do this season would have still been on the table. So that game in and of itself and the decision made in that game really wasn't that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. My thing is I'm a forward thinker. I like to look long term, and I'll never know this unless the moment comes, and I hope it doesn't come. Oh my God, I hope it does not come. But if this was a playoff game or even a very big game in February, if Dan Campbell was placed in that same situation, and I've there are two sides to every coin. There are those who dislike Jameson Williams, and there are those who love Jameson Williams, and there are those who dislike Hendon Hooker, and there are those who like the pick of Hendon Hooker, and then there are those who side on, hey, maybe you shouldn't always go for it, and then there are those who side on, hey, that's our coach and that's what he does. I
Doesn't
understand.
always go for it.
I understand all of it, but if it's the Super Bowl, God forbid, and you are up, I'm sorry, no, the game is tied, and it's fourth and inches, and you have an opportunity to kick a field goal to take the go-ahead lead while the other team does not have any timeouts left, and you choose to go for it. Now, look, I've argued with you before about Dan Campbell's decisions to go for it, but we have not had this conversation all year, and that's because, yeah, to a degree, I've accepted it, and even all, yeah, he went for it 4 times. So even all 4 times leading up to that one time he went for it, I had no problem with any of the decisions. Now, I might not have done it, but it was what it was. That's his style. That's what he does, even in his own territory. Some people take more exception to him going for it in his own territory than what he did at the end of the game. But like I said, I accepted that's what he was going to do. But I think initially they sent out the field goal team, and then I want to say Green Bay called the timeout, and then he was like, you know what? Let's go for it.
I don't think he sent out the field goal team. From what I remember, Jared Goff never left the field.
So the thing is, his explanation was that he wanted to put the game in his offense's hands, and they was going to win the game based on their offense. I can understand that. I can respect that. That was I'm glad he said that. I'm glad he gave some type of explanation for why he did it. Because, yeah, Brian Branch had left the game. Aleem McNeil was out the game. Defense was they was still losing pieces on top of already coming in banged up. I get it. But when I look at the risk reward between going for it or kicking the field goal and giving the ball back to Green Bay with 30 seconds, no timeouts, and they got to go about 40 yards in 30 seconds, minimum 40 yards, was it really worth it?
Are you asking me now?
I'm asking you with the caveat that no, not because it worked. Don't tell me because it worked. I want to ask you, was it worth it to get those extra 10 yards and run out the clock and then kick the field goal, opposed to giving the ball back with 30 seconds?
First off, let me say, we won. We won. It worked. We are 12-1, and yes, I would say it was definitely worth it, man. Just like you said, so we could kick the field goal and take the lead and give the ball back to Jordan Love and the Green Bay offense, who in the second half had been destroying our defense. I mean, I know I said that I know I said that our defense have been holding ground, but only to a certain extent, man. Jordan Love and that offense have been driving upfield pretty damn quickly, might I add. It wasn't like a methodical drives. We was literally going back and forth, in the second half, and you know what I'm saying. So there's a chance that your depleted defense could have held serve, or it's a chance that you know the offense could have went downfield and just won the game right there. So, or won the game right there, or you know what I'm saying, they could have. We never know what happened, but what did happen is Dan Campbell trusted in his offense. They were the best team on the field. If you're going to put the ball in one of your team's hands, I would rather have it put it in my elite offense's hands than my depleted defense's hands, and just go for the kill shot right there. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people are scared of going for the win and like to play it safe. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, they got to realize that Dan Campbell, if he sees the opportunity to go for the kill, he's going to go for it. And I mean, that's what he did. Throughout his percentages of him being called Dan Gamble, when he goes for it, he has more successes going for it than he does losses going for it, and it's proven it because the last 2 seasons we won 12 games, and that's just how to play, and I think people are just gonna have to get used to it.
So there's so much. The first one is the percentages are definitely in Dan Campbell's favor when he goes for it. He's the most successful coach in the league at fourth down conversions, point blank period. Can't argue that. But my thing is, when people tie that to, and you know what, I can't dispute it. I would love to know. It's a hypothetical, like you said. It's a lot of stuff we about to talk about. We'll never know the answer to. But sometimes I do wonder if Dan Campbell just played it straight up, could the Lions just beat somebody straight up, without going for it on fourth down? It's something we'll never know. And earlier in his tenure, yeah, I agree with you. That team was not good enough to just punch you in the mouth and walk away. Maybe you do. They definitely did need to go for it a couple times early in his tenure, but like where they're at now, I don't know how I feel about that. But that's in his DNA. That's in the team's DNA.
Let me say something real quick. The times when Dan Campbell has been conservative, I feel like this team has taken a step back. I just wanted to add that in there real quick.
All right, so it pains me too because I looked up a lot of stuff before this. I listened to the radio, and I realized I'm on an island, and I'm fine with that. I'm used to being on an island. It's just where I feel that's my comfort zone, is being on an island. And the only person that I've heard, Tony Kornheiser, pardon the interruption, he was kind of on my side, and then he just turned into a Lions fan, was like, but they won, so who cares? And then the only other person who I could find that agree with me is not somebody that I want in my company, but the only person that I saw was Colin Cowherd, and he quoted what you just said, which was I can't remember what you said. You just said it, but it was something.
When the team has been conservative.
No, not that part.
Oh.
It was where you said playing, instead of playing it safe. ...
Instead of playing it safe, they went for the kill. They went for the win.
Okay, yeah. Colin Cowherd said that decision, the decision to kick the field goal on 4th and inches, was not playing it safe. It was playing it reasonable. And unfortunately, I got to 100% agree with that, because if you look at it, worst case scenario. So we'll make that Jake Bates makes the field goal a given. We'll say that is a given because he did make it, and we'll just establish that that's a given. So Jake Bates makes the given. He makes the field goal. You give the ball to Green Bay. Worst case scenario is Green Bay goes downfield, scores a touchdown, which is possible,
Right.
but there's a slim chance of that. More than likely, they play for the field goal, they play for overtime, and they play to get in the field goal position because they didn't have any timeouts, and they would have had to go 70 yards downfield with 30 seconds in the game. You're going to be in prevent defense. They're not going to score a touchdown. So if anything, they get into field goal position, and they kick the field goal. Now, again, they have to make that field goal, but if they do, it goes into overtime. And even in overtime, even though, to your point, that game was going back and forth, I didn't feel like the Lions – I never felt like the Lions were in danger of losing that game. So if it goes into overtime, my mindset still wouldn't have changed. I still would have felt like the Lions were going to win that game.
And so wait. Let's throw another hypothetical right there at that point. So Green Bay gets the ball back. They drive downfield. They kick the field goal. They win the coin toss. They go. They score. Game over.
Game over. But see, I don't agree with you or everybody else who is telling me before the game, after the game, during the game, that Green Bay is this. I don't want to. You didn't call them a juggernaut, but the sense that I'm getting is that they were moving the ball at will, and that is just not true. Off the top of your head, what would you think that Jordan Love threw for, yards wise?
Not much. I know a few of his stats. I know he only completed 12 passes, and I would say probably just under 200 yards or something like that.
Right there. 206 yards, 1 touchdown. Josh Jacobs ran the ball for 66 yards on 18 carries. I'll take that. He did have 3 touchdowns. And their biggest receiver was Christian Watson, who had 4 catches for 114 yards. And a big majority of those yards came off on the blown coverage by Carlton Davis. So they really weren't moving the ball like that. And then the 14 of their points, right? They had an interception.
Yeah, it was off the turnover and the interception. Yeah.
Yep, interception by Jared Goff. They started at the Detroit 16-yard line, and then Dan Campbell went for it in his own territory on a halfback toss to Jahmyr Gibbs, got stopped, and the Green Bay Packers got the ball at the 30. So all they had to do was go 30 yards and score a touchdown. So really, you kind of gifted Green Bay 14 points, to be honest with you. You put your defense in a terrible position, and you gifted them 14 points. On the flip side, the worst case scenario would be them going downfield, scoring a touchdown, winning the game there. To your point, going to overtime, winning the game there, blah, blah, blah. But on the flip side, if you kick the field goal, right? You kick the field goal. I'm sorry, I'm bad. You go for it on 4th and inches to run out the clock. Jared Goff tripped. That could have been a disaster of a play. And at that point, worst case scenario, you get stopped or Jared Goff fumbles the ball, or even worse, something like that happens. And now it's a turnover on downs. It's a fumble. Now Green Bay has the ball, and they got the opportunity to finish the game right there, opposed to running out the clock and kicking the field goal. So just in my opinion, there is no way that it was worth it to risk the entire game just to finish it right there.
But essentially, you kind of sort of in the same position. You still put your defense out there to hold serve.
Yeah, but you don't have the lead.
Yeah, you don't have the lead, but the game is tied. Either way, you need your defense to hold the offense.
Right.
In that 30 seconds.
But if the defense doesn't hold the offense, then you go into overtime, opposed to the game being over. Like you die.
Yeah, and And if your defense doesn't hold the offense and they score a touchdown, then this game either way, the game would have been on the line either way. You know what I'm saying? And you either go for the win, you either go for the win, or you expect your defense to go out there and hold serve. And they went for the win, and it was successful.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're the better team, why are you putting yourself in that situation?
Your offense is better than their defense.
Yeah, but if you just got the better team, if you got the worst team, then all of this doesn't matter. Because I feel like we're the best team in football, so it's hard for me to make that comparison. But if you're the New York Giants and you got the Lions right here on the ropes, and you could kick this field goal, but you're like, oh man, they might just go downfield and get in the field goal position because they got one of the best offenses in football. So let's just go for it and let's try to run out the clock. I'm not mad at that decision, but against Green Bay, like I said, you had gifted them 14 points. Sometimes, in my opinion, Dan Campbell just makes the game more. He just makes it harder than it needs to be.
I don't think so, man. I mean, like I said, man. His since you want to go on the stats of the Green Bay offense, like I said, man, his stats don't say that. His stats say that when he goes for it, he is making a conscious decision and he's going for it at the right moment. Now there have been times when, like percentages should say that he shouldn't go for it, but he still gets a lot of those. And if you're going for, so what I would say is, usually you will be absolutely right. I do think that the Lions are the best team in football, and I feel like the mindset there is usually, I would agree with you. Put the defense on the field. They're going to hold it down. They've been your backbone when the offense is not doing what it's supposed to do. They've been holding it down. But this game, you've essentially got 16 players out from defense. 17 if you count Taylor Decker, but 16 of your players on defense was out of the game. And if I had to put the game on the line, betting on my offense or my defense in this game, I'm going to put it on my offense.
I get it. But where you lose me at is when you said, if I got to put this game on the line. You don't have to put this game on the line. You don't have to. That's my whole point. You just play the game. Like let's like me and you sitting there playing the game, and I'm like, hey, let's put our whole bank account on this game. And you like why? And you're like, I don't know, let's just do it. Because it's gonna determine who's the real winner, because we got everything on the line right here. It's like, yeah, we could do that, or we could just play the game.
No, I mean, that's not a good example, because in that scenario, there was a path to lose that game either way. You know what I'm saying?
There's always a path to lose the game.
Right, but you're going for the win. It's like the odds only changed slightly.
There was a path to lose the game by going for it.
But it's similar to the path to winning. I mean, it is,
but it's slightly, to
slightly.
Use your word, it's slightly safer,
yeah, slightly.
Or to use Colin Cowherd's words, it's slightly more reasonable to just kick the field goal right there.
Yeah, maybe so. But you know what? I'm not. I've told you this before, and I keep saying it, man. I'm not mad with the decision to go for the kill, man. If you want to go for the win, right then and there, you know what I'm saying? Let's do it. You know what I'm saying?